Think about your strongest memory. Maybe it's a birthday, a conversation, a place you visited years ago. You can almost see it. You can almost hear it. And you're probably completely sure it happened exactly the way you remember it. But here's the strange part. What if your brain isn't replaying that memory? What if it's rebuilding it? And what if every time you remember something, your brain has a chance to change it? So, can you really trust your memory? We tend to imagine memory like a video recorder. Something happens, the brain records it, and later we press play. But that's not really how human memory works. Memory is much more reconstructive. Instead of replaying a perfect recording, the brain retrieves pieces of information and reconstructs the event. That means remembering isn't simply looking backward. It's also rebuilding, and that small difference changes everything. Because if your brain is rebuilding the memory, then information that came later can sometimes become part of what you remember. Imagine you remember seeing something happen. Later, someone tells you a detail about it. Maybe they say the person was wearing a red shirt. You didn't actually notice the shirt, but now you know someone said it was red. Later still, when you remember the event, that red shirt might feel like something you actually saw. This is one reason memory can be influenced by information received after an event. The original experience is still important, but later information can interfere with what eventually gets recalled. Scientists call one version of this the misinformation effect. And here's where memory becomes really deceptive. We often assume that confidence means accuracy. If someone says, "I'm absolutely certain," we naturally believe they must be right. But confidence and accuracy aren't the same thing. A person can remember something vividly, describe details confidently, and still be wrong. False memories can sometimes feel just as real as genuine memories. That's what makes them so difficult. The problem isn't always that the memory feels uncertain. Sometimes, the problem is that it feels certain. There's an even stranger way to see how memory can work. Imagine someone gives you a list of related words: bed, pillow, night, tired, dream. Later, you're asked whether the word sleep was on the list. It feels familiar. It belongs perfectly with the other words. So your brain may tell you, "Yes, I remember seeing it." But familiarity isn't proof that something actually happened. This kind of memory illusion has been studied extensively in psychology. Your brain isn't simply checking a perfect database. It's also judging what makes sense. And sometimes, what feels like a memory is actually an inference. And memories don't exist in isolation. Other people can influence them too. Imagine you and a friend experience the same event. Later, your friend confidently describes what happened. They mention a detail you don't remember. You hear the story again and again. Eventually, that detail may become mixed with your own memory of the event. This doesn't mean people are deliberately lying. Memory distortion can happen without conscious deception. The brain is simply trying to make sense of incomplete information. And once again, what feels familiar can start to feel remembered. You might think strong emotion should make a memory more accurate. But emotional intensity doesn't automatically turn memory into a perfect recording. In fact, memories are influenced by many things. What we noticed, what we expected, what we imagined, and what happened afterward. A vivid memory can contain genuine details, mixed with details that were added later. That's why a memory can feel incredibly real, while still containing errors. The feeling of remembering and the accuracy of what is remembered are not exactly the same thing. This becomes especially important when someone is asked to remember something they witnessed. A witness might genuinely believe they saw something. But memory accuracy can be affected by conditions such as distance, lighting, stress, attention, and information received afterward. That's why eyewitness memory has become such an important area of scientific research. A witness isn't necessarily lying. They may be honestly reporting what they remember. The problem is, what someone sincerely remembers isn't always an exact copy of what actually happened. And even something as ordinary as sleep can affect memory. Research has found that sleep deprivation can make people more vulnerable to misleading information and false memories in certain situations. That makes sense when you think about it. If the brain isn't processing information properly, then later information may have more opportunity to interfere with what was originally experienced. So sometimes, getting enough sleep isn't just about feeling less tired. It can also matter for how accurately we remember. So should we stop trusting our memories completely? No, that would be the wrong conclusion. Memory is incredibly useful. It lets us learn from the past, recognize people, navigate the world, and build a sense of who we are. The better question isn't, is memory reliable? It's, when is memory more reliable? Research suggests memory accuracy depends on the circumstances surrounding attention, learning, retrieval, emotion, social influence, and later information. So memory isn't useless. It's simply not perfect. And maybe that's the most important thing to understand. Your brain isn't trying to trick you. It's trying to construct a useful version of the past from the information it has. Sometimes it gets the details right. Sometimes it fills in missing pieces. And sometimes those pieces come from somewhere else. A conversation, a suggestion, an expectation, another memory, or even something you imagined. That's why remembering is better understood as reconstruction, not replay. So, can you really trust your memory? Yes, but not blindly. Your memories can be remarkably useful and remarkably wrong. The strange part is that you may never feel the difference. A distorted memory can still feel vivid. It can still feel personal. It can still feel completely true. And that's why the real question isn't whether your memory is perfect. It isn't. The real question is, how much of what you remember came from what actually happened? And how much came from everything that happened afterward? Maybe your memory isn't a recording of the past. Maybe it's your brain's best reconstruction of it.